Hey there, vinyl community. It is Steve from vinylrecordnetwork.com. Please check our link out below. We offer a pretty unique service as it relates to vinyl records. And if you like what you hear today, please subscribe to the channel. I think we have a barn burner of a video for you today that's probably going to get the fire in the belly going for some people. I know it does for me because I talk about music in a very competitive way as I talk about sports. And I've been wanting to make this video for the last 36 years or so. If you saw our very first video, which was the Doors self-titled pressing comparison, I broke out this shirt here as a little bit of a teaser for a future video. Let me just show it to you up close and personal. And hopefully you get a feel for that. Now, rest in peace, Eddie Van Halen. David Lee Roth is not Van Halen, but Van Halen in my mind is Eddie Van Halen, his brother Alex, Michael Anthony, and David Lee Roth. As opposed to this castrated, neutered, vanilla, mundane, bland band called Van Hagar. Now, you're probably guessing because of the shirt and those opening comments that this is very quickly going to dovetail in a David Lee Roth versus Sammy Hagar conversation. But really, this is Van Halen versus Van Hagar. But let's face it, the lead singers make up 25% of the band. So some of the things I'm going to point out are a direct reflection of the lead singer. Now, I am not going to compare these two today. You know the music. I'm not going to talk about the music. I'm going to talk about other things as it relates to the line in the sand, as I call it, which was 1984, the last of the classic six-pack with David Lee Roth and the first album with Van Hagar. Now, if you do want to check out a track-by-track comparison, visit Ralph Vieira's site called Almost Human, and he's got several channels. If you like classic hard rock and heavy metal, check out his track-by-track comparisons. 1984 versus 5150 is one of them. So, without any further ado, let me get started here. I have some notes that I don't want to miss, so I have to put on my glasses here. So, a big part of Van Halen's legacy and success and image is tied to the imagery of the band. I want you to go back to 1984 when MTV was everywhere and it was everything. Think about the videos. Jump, Panama, Hot for Teacher. Hot for Teacher is one of the all-time classics. It's got the mini-me, if you will, of each member of the band. If you're 14 years old, as I was at that time, you couldn't top it. And you look at Panama, another great performance video, but takes it to another level from Jump. You got the visual of the airplane in the beginning rolling through the sky. You got David Lee Roth flying through the air with the boombox. You got Michael Anthony with the Jack Daniels bass guitar. You got Alex Van Halen shooting a beer. I mean, what more you want? That video was shot at the old Philadelphia Spectrum. In terms of what you see and the audience participation and just the performance of the band. And then you have Jump, as David Lee Roth infamously said they spent a couple $100 on, and that was mostly on chips and beer. Now compare that to the neutered, castrated version of Van Hagar, where I think they did one video, Dreams. I don't think any member of the band is in it. It puts a highlight on the Blue Angels, which I have a ton of respect for, but the imagery of the band was starting to get lost. Now, let's compare YouTube videos that are out there from the Montreal Forum, the 1984 tour, and the Montreal Forum of the 5150 tour. Compare the opening of those shows. Just imagine one of the roadies or road managers on stage introducing the mighty Van Halen. You just see a spotlight on Edward Van Halen playing the beginning of Unchained, and David Lee Roth is on Alex's drum visor and does one of those splits. The place goes nuclear, goes ballistic. There was no smartphones then. There's being shot with 8mm camera. The person could hardly hold the camera because the whole building is shaking. Check out the beginning now of the Van Hagar concert, and the whole concert for that matter, and they look comatose. There's no comparison between the two. Now, unfortunately, there was never a official live video of the David Lee Roth era, but there is Live Without a Net from 5150. Check out the MC Hammer pants that Eddie Van Halen is wearing. I think they're pink. And Michael Anthony's wearing yellow and Sammy red. They look ridiculous. They look nothing like the killer band that came before it. The imagery of the band is just gone. It's not the same band. And that is the moral of the story here, is that we have two different bands, hence why they can be compared. Now, I think it was right for them to keep the Van Halen name, but I also think it's right for people to, in a negative way or not, to use the Van Hagar moniker. So I talked about videos, the visual, the clothes. Let's talk about lyrics now. Sammy's lyrics specifically. These are really, really top-notch lyrics, I have to tell you. So, why can't this be love? Hey, only fools rush in, and only time, this is the best part, only time will tell if we stand the test of time. What the fuck is that? That's terrible. Now look, this is classic hard rock. This isn't Bob Dylan. But these lyrics are atrocious. Good enough. U.S. Prime Grade A stamp guaranteed. Just grease it up and bring on the heat. Throw it down and roll it over once or twice, then chow down. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? It gets better. Summer nights. Ain't no way I'm staying home tonight. I'll be out until the morning light. Just hanging around the local parking lot, checking out the girls, see what they got. Summer nights in my radio. This sounds like something Elmo would sing on Sesame Street. Garbage. Pure garbage. And there's no way you could deny it. Those lyrics are terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Let's talk about some of the filler on those four. And I stopped after For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge, so I know nothing about Balance other than the singles. But here's some of the song titles that go hand in hand with the lyrics and just general filler, which there was zero filler on the classic six-pack with Roth. Sucker in a three-piece. Source of infection. Inside, spanked, in and out, man on a mission. Again, I recognize this is classic hard rock. This is not Bob Dylan. But I think I could pick any 13-year-old from the 80s or any decade afterward that can come up with something more creative than I just read off to you. Let's talk about sales now. You could look up for yourself who sold more. Obviously, there's more albums with Roth, so he did sell more. And if you do the math, on average, he sold more per record. But the Roth naysayers are always going to say, but those Van Hagar albums, 4 number ones in a row. Where to start with that? Timing is everything. 1984 was number 2 for several weeks because it had Thriller in front of it. A different kind of truth that come back with Roth in 2012 had the modern day Thriller with Adele in front of it. Okay? Timing is everything. And when Van Halen started, hard rock was dead. Kiss, dead. Sabbath, dead. Or dying a slow death. Aerosmith had their issues. Zeppelin had their issues. Van Halen saved hard rock. AC/DC and the Scorpions didn't start selling in the States until Van Halen became big. Iron Maiden, one of the reasons why they wanted to change singers is because they wanted somebody to sing higher, and they pointed out Roth. Now, Roth's never given credit for his singing, quite the contrary, and he definitely was more of the front man than singer. But on those first 6 albums, he could sing. I understand what became him as time went on, and his voice after the 07-08 tour is not great. Let's put it that way, especially that live album from 2013. But we're not here to talk about Van Halen and Van Hagar as 60 and 70-year-olds. We're here to talk about them in their prime and what these lead singers contributed to what I feel is two different bands in their prime. And as I've already said, the visuals, the imagery, the lyrics, the song titles, the filler, and the fact that Diamond Dave and Van Halen had two, no pun intended, diamond-selling albums, which is more than 10 million in sales, and only 4 other bands, not artists, bands have done that. Def Leppard, Zeppelin, Floyd, and the Beatles. Now, I would take that over 4 number 1 albums, which, again, when Hagar got in the band, that music was of its time. Whereas it really didn't become the music of its time until probably around 1984. Even when Diver Down came out in 82 and MTV was in the infancy stage, hard rock, I mean, the new wave of British heavy metal was just getting off the ground with Priest and Maiden tour in 82. The Sunset Strip that Van Halen influenced so dramatically hadn't really started. So they were kind of, on a desert island in terms of hard rock, again, along with AC/DC and Scorpions. When Hagar got into Van Halen, heavy metal, hard rock was huge. And they were just another band at that point. Guns N' Roses, just a year and a half, 2 years after 5150 was selling more than Van Halen. Whitesnake, self-titled in 87. Def Leppard, both Hysteria, Bon Jovi, Slippery When Wet, all selling more than Van Halen. Van Halen was now in the ranks of Aerosmith, Crew, and Poison. That's where their sales were. There wasn't another 1984 moment that was going to happen with Van Hagar, or did happen with Van Hagar. They were no longer at the top of the heap. They were close to it just because of the Van Halen name and Eddie Van Halen, but they didn't have another 1984 moment. So let's talk about cultural relevance now, and this is most important to me amongst everything that I said. Movies and TV, okay? Wedding Singer, Van Halen's got a big part in that. When Adam Sandler says to his girlfriend, "Why are you wearing the shirt? You're going to break up the band." Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Van Halen bookends that. They were so huge in Southern California, 82, leading up to the US Festival in 83. You got Damone selling tickets to the little kid. You got Spicoli blowing his money on saving Brooke Shields from drowning and hiring Van Halen. This is cultural significance that Van Hagar has nothing. They have nothing related to this. Here's the other movies that Van Halen's music is used in. A movie everybody wants, I've never heard of. The song Everybody Wants Some, and Ain't Talking About Love are in it. The Green Hornet, didn't know this, never saw the movie, uses Feel Your Love Tonight from Van Halen 1. The Spielberg movie from a couple years ago, Ready Player One, Jump. Anchorman 2, Dance the Night Away. Little Nicky, which is a Sandler movie, Run with the Devil. Eddie the Eagle uses Jump. And then my next 3 are my favorite outside of Fast Times. Better Off Dead, John Cusack. The dancing character, Hamburger, Everybody Wants Some. And then the scene in Superbad of Panama. And then also Panama and the TV show Family Guy. Guys, I looked and looked. There's no Van Hagar music used in movies and TV. There just isn't. And you know what Sammy Hagar wants you to believe? Is that the Van Halen brothers wouldn't allow it. You know what I say about that? Bullshit. I'll say it again.
Bullshit.
Bullshit. Do you think if Steven Spielberg wanted to use Dreams instead of Jump and would pay Van Halen appropriately for it, that Alex and Eddie wouldn't give the rights to that song to be in a Spielberg movie? Do you think Seth MacFarlane, who's worth jillions of dollars, that if he thought Best of Both Worlds was a better use of a song than Panama in that skit, that he wouldn't have paid for it? You know why he didn't do it? Because Best of Both Worlds is lame. Remember in the video Live Without the Net, they're doing that dance? I want the best of both worlds. Do you know who did that around the same time? The Monkees, when they reunited. Van Hagar was now in the same category as the Monkees. Embarrassing. Embarrassing. What else we got here? Books. Outside of Sammy Hagar's autobiography, read, there are no books about the Van Hagar era because no one cares. No one cares. There's Everybody Wants Some, written by Ian Christie, that came out around the time Roth reunited with the band, 2008. There's Greg Renoff, Van Halen Rising. That's my favorite because it covers those Pasadena days, those backyard parties. What I wouldn't do to be 10 years older, to be 14 and 74 instead of 84, just for a night, to go back in time travel, to be at one of those parties. They were playing to 3,000 people in people's backyards in like the mid 70s. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. All right. Airplay, terrestrial radio, or satellite radio, 80-90% of the time, it's Van Halen songs. How about tribute bands? 1984, well, we know which version of Van Halen that is. Atomic Punks. Atomic Punks, what a band. The lead singer of Steel Panther started in that band. Roth, for his solo band in the late 90s and early 2000s, took a guy by the name of Brian Young from that band because he was so good. Completely Unchained, Van Halen, Romeo Delight, Unchained, and Invasion. Invasion was the name of the Women and Children First tour. I know there is a Van Hagar tribute band. It's like 1 to every 30 Van Halen tribute bands with Roth. It just doesn't compare. Nobody cares. I'm telling you, nobody cares. And again, Sammy's response to some of these cultural relevant points I'm making, the Van Halen brothers wouldn't give permission. Utter nonsense. All right, guys, what do you think? It's clear what my opinion is of the matter. I think my points are valid, but I'm always interested in a contrarian thought, because I'm not saying that my opinion is the end-all be-all. This is how I evaluate the difference between these two bands. The cultural relevance for this is through the roof. In this one, it just hasn't aged well. The production of it, and I'm talking about all the albums, at least the ones I heard, the first 3 with Van Hagar. 2 completely different bands. Regardless of how Roth looks or sounds now, this is what people care about. This is what they've always cared about in comparison to this. So, hey, signing off now. Hope you had some fun with this. Hopefully there aren't too many people that are insulted by us, but leave your comments below. I can't wait to see them. Take care. Bye-bye.